Let me say a pleasant good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Those of you who are viewing us via GBN TV, Channel 7, Channel 11, Channel 20, good morning to you also. Those of you by our social media platforms, whether it's the Facebook page, YouTube channels, GBN's webpage, good morning and welcome to this edition of To The Point. It's Wednesday. It's the other week that we do entertain various government departments. Could be a government minister, it could be someone representing a particular, of course, whatever within government. We do have this, of course. I guess this lovely lady's making me a bit nervous this morning. Anyway, let me say good morning to the Honorable Kerryne James with us this morning. She's the Minister for Climate Resilience, the Environment and Renewable Energy. She's also the MP for St. John. Let me say good morning to you, my dear. Good morning and welcome.
First and foremost, the MP for St. John. Good morning to you, GT. It's a pleasure to finally be here.
Yes. Nice to have you. How are you this morning?
I am excited and great, actually. I woke up in a good mood. I got most of my tasks completed so far, so I'm on a roll this morning.
All right. Yes. I am happy that you're on a roll, so we're going to get things rolling off instantly one time. Now, we're going to kick it off by starting the conversation pertaining to your ministry of Climate Resilience. It's an important ministry in of course, knowing the world, the environment today, how important it is. Tell us something about, of course, you stepping into that particular ministry on the onset of you getting into government. How has it been for you thus far?
Well, first, let me say Happy World Environment Day to your listening audience. It's World Environment Day, and our ministry commemorates that day with over 190 other countries. When I got the portfolio of Minister for Climate Resilience, Environment and Renewable Energy 2 years ago, I was a bit shocked. I felt as though, I said respectfully, Prime Minister, I think you have made a mistake because my academic qualifications is not in that area, and I don't think that I could do justice to such a demanding portfolio. And of course, Prime Minister, he has this sixth sense, I could say, in terms of knowing what our potentials are, knowing how best that if we harness and if we step aside from fear and we put our best foot forward, that we can achieve anything that we want to do. And so I thank him for, bestowing that portfolio upon me. The journey at the beginning was quite rough, like I mentioned. I am not academic in the field, and so it had its learning curve that I had to go through. 16 days into the portfolio, I was thrown into one of the most important dialogue that prepare leaders and experts for the Conference of Parties, the largest climate conference in Germany. 16 days with almost a ministry that had to be built from scratch, right? And it has been paced after that. Of course, it comes with a demanding portfolio to have regional as well as international presence, and so that has been a struggle for me to balance both the responsibility of the ministry and also my responsibility as member of parliament in terms of the physical presence. But yes. I have been doing quite a phenomenal job. We have been getting the attention and the support, be it financial, through grants or concessional funding, be it through technical support, through expertise and legal support as well. We have been getting that as a country. So it has really, it has really paid off for us that, of all of the conferences that I've attended, the panels, the countless panels I've been on, the high demand for programs and stuff around the world that I've been invited to is paying off now, and we've seen some of the results of that, tangible results of that.
So you're saying technically now that you have adjusted. I mean, we are getting is almost 2 years doing this, and you have adjusted, you have settled.
I have settled, but not settled in terms of not willing to work even harder, but I have settled in terms of feeling confident that I could speak on the subject matter, that I could represent and, let the world know about the vulnerabilities and about the true struggles that we face here in Grenada on a day-to-day basis.
Right. Yeah. My next question is going to lead, because it's always seemed to be one of the things that folks want to hear now. Almost 2 years being in government, the achievements of you in that particular ministry. I mean, let's talk about that. The areas that you want to focus especially on in 2024 and beyond. We know 2024 will be, of course, getting into the second quarter of it.
Yeah.
Tell us about the objective of this particular ministry of yours.
Right. So for us, we want to ensure as a ministry that we help in terms of the national development plan and strategy that we have already, to harness that, to ensuring that sustainability is the key. Sustainability and resilience is the key towards driving that. And so one of the biggest mandate for us has has been our renewable energy initiatives in terms of transitioning our energy sector and infiltrating solar PV, solar energy. We have looked at wind energy, and we have an ongoing geothermal project. So we have been looking at that area almost biasly so, not necessarily neglecting the other parts of the ministerial portfolio, but what we realize is that energy is everything. Energy, food, and water is almost the key three things that is needed for a country to survive and a country to blossom. And so if we can make energy cheaper, not only for our manufacturers but for our consumers as well, we definitely can ensure our sustainability, our reliance, our resilience, as well as being secure that if anything is to happen, if a war is to break out, that we have our natural resources that we have harnessed. So our mandate has been, one really to, when we got into office, we inherited projects that were not moving. Let's be honest. We have a solar PV. It's a 600 kilowatt. You're an engineer, so I guess you can say 600 kilowatt is a very small project, right? And so we have got that project well over 6 years, and there was no movement on the ground when I came in. And could you imagine, to my surprise, when I was in budget, the first year in budget at the end of 2022, I made pronouncements that we are going to commence and we're going to launch commission this solar PV plant in Limley, Carriacou. When I got to Carriacou in April of the following year, that's 2023, there was absolutely nothing happening on the site. And so immediately I collaborated. We formed a small working committee with different stakeholders within ministry as well as NGO to see how best we can, work towards the challenges. And so to date, we have successfully installed all of the modules that is needed for the site. The battery storage system is on the site. All of the physical infrastructure works are ongoing. We just have to do the drainage now, the roads, and we are in the commissioning phase now. So commissioning takes a process. It's a process and it takes a while, simply because if something is to happen, so we have eight inventors, right? If one is to fail during the commissioning phase, that is to test to see the true maximum use of these inverters. If one is to flop during the commissioning, we have to start that process all over again. So currently we are in the commissioning phase of that project, and we are hoping that all goes well. We have been able to work along with our utility company, that's Glen on Carriacou Sister Island, Carriacou, to combat some of the challenges that we've had. And so we're hoping for good news that everything will be successful and that we can do the official handover. As it relates to geothermal, similarly, we have inherited that project. Geothermal, unlike solar, it takes a while, right, to actually see tangible benefits and to see things happening. So most of the works that have been ongoing over the past 2 years have been in preparatory phases. So we have successfully gone through the phase of the land acquisition. We have got all the technical expertise through the help of the New Zealand government and quite a number of other organizations in the Caribbean. The CDB has assisted us with that project, and we are hoping that we would go towards exploratory drilling. That's so not because we are a volcanic island, it means that we have geothermal potential. That's a myth that sometimes people get mixed up with. So we have to do exploratory drilling so that we don't waste our resources to go in head on and then we don't have nothing. So we're going to prove that we have the resource. So currently what we are doing now, we are doing geotechnical soil testing studies to ensure that everything is ongoing, everything is well.
It's like a phased approach.
It definitely is a phased approach. So you wouldn't see anything tangible, visible as yet, but we are doing all of these works behind the scene. Of course, we continue to harness the environment, and we continue to push for not only the policy side of the environment portfolio, but we want to do much more in the communities. We have had a lot of issues, a lot of challenges, be it from the implementing of the Biodegradable Act with the how do you call these people that bring in this stuff? The name eludes me now, but there are persons who would bring in importers that would bring in those biodegradable stuff, and then there's a conflict with what the law says, what the product says, what the company that they get in the products from. We have had quite a number of challenges with coastal zone management in terms of persons illegally dumping on those beaches or just the coastal areas in general. all, we've had a lot of problem with waste management on a whole, right, on the environment and through my statutory board for Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority. So we have been trying our utmost to see how best, one, we can collaborate with other countries to take a regional approach towards combating some of these issues, because it is not unique to just Grenada alone. A lot of my sisters and brothers in the Caribbean are faced with it. So thanks to the OECS Commission, they have been able to design some programs for us. One of them being a I keep saying organics. Well, it's a recycle organics program where we are going to try to do something at the national level to combat plastic waste pollution. So we have been doing that. It has been launched since last year, and we are ongoing. There is a flyer going around now with days as to when you can bring in your plastic bottles and stuff. So stay tuned to the Facebook, and I would really like not only for the children to do it, but for our adults to set an example for our children to follow it, and to let's see how best we can combat on this issue. So we've had that challenge. I'm out of breath.
There is so much you would like to say. Let me just divert for a wee bit. Recently you had the launch of that Blue School Initiative program. Tell us a wee bit about that.
Right. So the Caribbean SIDS Ocean Decade Ocean Literacy Program. It's a program that is supported by the UNESCO and the IOC through IOCARIB Secretariat. And so this initiative really is to bring awareness in a more structured and formal approach towards ensuring that our future generation, our students now, both in the primary and secondary schools, are ocean literate. Yeah. We are big ocean states. Our Prime Minister speaks heavily and passionately about that. We tend to see ourselves as small islands, but we are big ocean states first. If you go to the ordinary person, and I'm guilty of that, take me for example, I live in Gulf, born, raised, still live there, would never leave, and I can't even swim to date. Right? Just that bare example.
That is sad, Minister.
Right? Big up to my golf for same way. Somebody would teach me how to swim. But on a more serious note, we have had that challenge where persons, they don't know how to harness the opportunities that is associated with being a big ocean state. Yes. And so the idea came for us to do something that is not just ceremonial. When you have the environment days, you have the World Ocean Days, you would do the little thing, the planting trees. That is all well and good, and we continue to do that. But we need something more substantial to educate our young ones as to the opportunities, so that we can diversify some of the areas that they go to look towards for careers. So this program is aimed to really bring awareness as to the how important our oceans can be to our economic development, and to ensure that we teach them about sustainability. The program would be launched in two schools, piloted in 2 schools. It's the first in the Caribbean, so Grenada is first on board for that. Obviously, it will be my constituency, St. John, not because of biasness, but because of the fishing, as Gulf has been the fishing capital. Yes. And we have played a tremendous role in terms of the economic development of the country. History has proven that and shown that to us, and so I felt it was only fitting to bring it to these 2 schools. So St. Rose and St. John's Christian Secondary would be the 2 schools that's going to be piloted. They're going to be learning things on oceanography, coastal zone management, fisheries stock, fisheries science, environmental economics as well. So it's a way for us to educate and to bring it into the traditional curriculum. We want to transform our curriculum. You've heard about our recently passed bill in terms of increasing the age for our students to mandatory school age, right? So this is all part of what we hope to achieve and what we are trying to pilot to see if it works. The traditional curriculum has not been able to successfully meet most of our young people, especially those that comes from vulnerable backgrounds, right? And for our men is quite absent. You can feel it, you can see it. The graduation at SU is a prime example of how many men graduated. And so I don't believe that it's just that they want to drop out of school and they're on this bad mindness and they do anything. But I believe that our curriculum, the educational system, has not transitioned over the years to meeting their needs. And so we have to put in some of these things in the formal structure to ensure that we don't, or to limit the amount of dropouts that we have. So
great.
that is an opportunity for
that. We'll be due for a break, of course,
Yes.
and we have much more. When we come back, I want to get into a bit of your constituency a wee bit.
No
Let's
problem.
just get into that bit of a conversation. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point Classic Radio. We'll be right back after the break.
As we bring you ball-by-ball commentaries of the T20 World Cup. The Cut and Drive Network, in association with this radio station, are pleased to be a part of the excitement. Join me, Andrew Mason, as I lead a team of top-class cricket commentators right through to the finals on June the 29th at the historic Kensington Oval. Cricket, lovely cricket, on this radio station. You got a date, so don't be late.
This moment is all that I've been dreaming of. Well, focus.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for Grenada to laugh again. Heritage Theatre presents Spice Laugh Comedy Bash 2024, Saturday, June 22nd and Sunday, 23rd June at the Trade Center in Grandance, and on Sunday, 30th June at the Deluxe Cinema in Grenville. Showtime, 7 p.m. every time, featuring some of Grenada's best ambassadors of comedy. Robert White.
I'll line up behind the yellow for 9 elections straight. I changed for 9 times to lose the last election. Why? Because I'm always on the losing side.
Dillion Walters.
It's the McQueen I couldn't take. I don't tell Molly didn't know.
Kareem Alexis, and other outstanding comedic performances, all coming to knock you off your seats with laughter. Get your tickets now. Bring out the entire family. Tickets are $60. It's time for Spice Laugh Comedy Bash 2024.
The place go flood with laughter.
Meet Wade. Wade was
the laundry, always do a full load, save water.
This awareness initiative is part of activities under the Climate Resilient Water sector in Grenada. The project is funded by the Green Climate Fund, the German government, and the government of Grenada.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point here, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Welcome back, MP, and nice to have you on the program once again. Let's get into the constituency of St. John, and you know that your constituency, you being, of course, the MP, was able to, of course, obtain the title of being the MP during our last election. Now, tell us, give us a bit of an update on how things are going within the constituency of St. John. Talk about the major projects, some of the initiatives that you have started, and since getting into office, if you can start on that for me.
Wow, so we have been doing quite a lot in the parish, the constituency of St. John. In terms of the normalcy of what an MP is expected to do, we have been updating and rehabilitating roads.
Yes.
So we have done quite a number of roads. In total, we have done 8,840 feet of roads in a various amount of our communities. We have done so in Douglaston, there's a by road there. We have done so in Harlem Heights in Grand Roy. We have done top and bottom Mung Nesbitt. We have done Douglaston again, St. Francis Street, Old Road, Margot, Black Bay area. We have done a Sweet Corner pavement, rehabilitating and reconstructing a pavement in Sweet Corner. We have done quite a number of footpaths for persons who have been living off the main road, that have challenges, whether they're disabled, differently abled,
yes,
or they've living so far off that they need assistance with having their own little bypass road connecting them to the main road. But as it relates to more substance, when I got on board and decided that I was going to run for this that general election cycle, I made targeted promises to my constituents, because yes, I understand that it takes a lot of lobbying among your cabinet colleagues to getting things done, especially if you don't have the ministerial portfolio, for example, infrastructure, social development and stuff. But also you have to, as an MP, you have to understand, study each community, each polling division to the key to see outside of the government structures and the government services, what else can you do to the capacity of your constituents. And so my campaign promises, they were not just promises or pie in the sky ideas, but they were targeted to community development, real community development. So for example, the polling division MO8, which is my second home, Mongrambi, Mongnesbit, Palmas area, when I went on the ground and I found out what it is that they would like to see happen and they would dub as development for them, it was three things. It was the community center in the area. It was the water, the dam and the water connection network in that area, and it was the basketball court and the playing field in one, right? To date, I have been able, through the generous assistance of my technical lead when I had her during the first 3 months in office as minister, and the Global Water Partnership Caribbean, we have been able to gain $40,000 grant funding from the Jeff facility to assist that community with rehabilitating the water rehabilitation system and the network. So we have gotten all of the fixtures, all of the pipes. Mind you, let me track back. So Mongrambi is a special place. We are not connected to the Nawasa network of water.
Really?
We have our own water, the best water you can find in Grenada. All right. Right? And so this dam was almost like a naturally formed dam. So what we did was to get the resources to help in actually building out a proper dam and to changing the filtering system. The filtering system have been there for well over 40 years, and so you would know that over time you definitely have to change. The technology has improved, and the water connection, the pipes were old pipes that were rotten, and so we are going to be on the same standard with NAWASA as well. So we have gotten the clearance from them and the support from NAWASA, and we have started that project. That project is almost 90% completed. We are running the pipe networks down now. We have also gotten tremendous support from the People's Republic of China through the ambassador that is representing China to Grenada now, and we have gotten 133,000 EC dollars to help towards the renovation of the Mongrambi Community Center. Since it was built, it has gone through Hurricane Ivan, Emily, all other natural disasters, and it was a dilapidated building. So we are now almost, let's say, 85% completed with that. The playing field and the basketball court will be commencing short. We're going to start having some works completed there. And so these are the things that the people in that polling division, mentioned that is what development would look like to them. Of course, in other areas, especially in my hometown, Gulftown, which is a big PD, development is different to them as opposed to some polling division or another community to the southern part of the island or so. And so one of the things that I promised for the fisher folks in Guav is to ensure that we find some means of creating a bait farm, of establishing a bait farm for them. Bait has been an issue in terms of fishermen, how they catch their stock, how they're able to go out and fish. It has been a monopoly, and so what we want to do is to ensure that we educate our fisher folk, and then we bring in and introduce new skills to the community. So currently we are looking to get in support, and mind you, I'm saying these things and I'm trying not to use local revenue. So all of the things that we have been able to I have been able to do outside of infrastructure works has been out of my efforts in terms of the relationship and the network I've formed because of my ministry or because of someone who is associated with me in the ministry. They have been able to lobby international organizations.
Great.
So we are finalizing that project. The pilot project is estimated at around $2 million US. Obviously, it is not in my neck of the woods in terms of ministerial responsibility, so I have to collaborate with the Minister for Fisheries. That has been a little, you know how the bureaucracy does kill everything that you want to do, and sometimes if the pace in which you want to get things done doesn't happen. So that's where we are at now, trying to finalize, making sure everything is on track, making sure it doesn't affect or it doesn't hinder the rollout of the Ministry of Fisheries plan for the constituency as well. So very soon you will see a launch of that $2 million project for St. John. Also, I had promised during the campaign to the fisher folks in Marigot. This is another area to the southern part of the constituency, a neglected part of the constituency before my time. I promised the fishermen the locker facility. Now, when they come up with their boats, the area is prone to a lot of pebbles, like stones. So the area is not conducive towards ensuring that damages are not done to their boat. And so sometimes they have been faced with a lot of theft in the area. Persons, because they have to leave their engines on the boat, they have nowhere to store it, nowhere to store all their gears and stuff. So what I want to do is to replicate a project that has been ongoing in the Soubise area, the fisher facility there, on a smaller scale for the fisher folks in Marigot. So currently we await the estimates of my dear friend and parishioner who committed to replicating that to fit in the environmental area, the location of the area. And in the meantime, while we wait for Ministry of Infrastructure to sign off on the scope that we have provided and the costing, we are going to help with taking out some of the pebbles that's in the area and try and maybe smoothing it off for the fisher folk in the area in the meantime.
Oh, great. Yeah. Great. Now tell me, we have heard quite a bit about the Guelph Health Center.
Yes.
I want to talk about that a wee bit. Yeah, it's been underutilized, folks are saying, for some reason there. What is the status of this particular facility right now, and what are plans for the use of it in the future?
No problem. So let's be honest. So first, let's start off by saying that the Guelph Health Center was rushed to be open when it was not almost 100% completed in 2022, right? Yes. So that project was rushed, and so there was a number of infrastructural problems that was highlighted that they ignored because of whatever reason. We can't, and we won't go down that road. But nevertheless, post the opening of that facility, one of the main challenges that we've had, and I've also campaigned on that as well too, in terms of the overall health sector, 24 hours health service to our constituents. One of the main challenges that we have currently is that the building, some of the offices, the spaces there have not, and I've walked there 4 times, right? Yeah. And the spacing there has not been designed ready with specific focus as to what this facility should do. There are labor rooms, there are rooms for normal dressing. You will get almost sort of like a casualty, like there's room for all of the nurses and doctors and all of that. But like I said, there have been challenges there. The elevator wasn't working. There was a stench coming from the face basins and the bathrooms there because the sewer system wasn't done correctly. So we have went ahead to rectifying these infrastructural problems.
All right.
Right. You would know that there is a structured and a more organized approach towards ensuring that we have much more nurses and doctors. So we have looked into our diaspora to ensuring that we get skilled persons to come in. So that is something that Ministry of Health will talk about when they come on the program. But most recently, and what is most impressive and exciting for me is that earlier on this year we have a foundation that is US based that has worked extensively in Africa. The AFIA Foundation, they have taken up this, adopted, for lack of a better word, the Guelph Polyclinic. And so what they will do is to ensure that we have the best technology, the best equipment, the best in terms of the infrastructure, what the space should be for care for cancer treatments, for renal disease, dialysis, and many other areas for healthcare for our people in the constituency. So they have adopted that as one of the health facilities, trying to diversify and trying to ameliorate persons having to come down and put added strain on the general hospital itself. So if you go on the Facebook page now, you would see it on my page, you would see it on Prime Minister's page, the Afia Foundation page, that they have an extensive plan for us in terms of giving us the technology that is required for modern day health practices, giving us the rooms and facilities so that our trained nurses and doctors can actually have the equipment to use, because that's one of the challenges that we have with healthcare. We have not been able to keep our doctors and nurses here simply because maybe low income, the wages are not attractive. But one of the most important reasons is that when they spend so much time in school studying, especially if they have gone on to specialize beyond the MD degree, when they come back, they don't have the equipment to work with.
Yes.
Right? And so they either have to open their own private practice as a GP, or work in the system because they are bonded for whatever reason. And so you do not get the real essence and the real value of if they would have gotten a scholarship to really help with diversifying and transforming the health sector. So this foundation, like I mentioned, would help in terms of creating that polyclinic, as the name says, in terms of the best technology available, and will also assist in ensuring that we have the right expertise, the right special persons who are specialized in the area to come in there on an incremental basis to help with some of the challenges.
And we should see some movement in that pretty soon.
Definitely, we should see some movement. So they have already gone so, and that's one thing that I need to make mention of. People think, oh, everything we do, you have to be no. We have to do it no. You got to see it no. Some things requires planning. So some things require you do the nice big launch because you have sponsors on board and you have to do the nice little show. You have to cut the ribbon, you have to make the speeches and the long talk and But then there are times when you need to exclude yourself, and you need to do the work behind these things and make sure every I is dotted and every T is crossed, and make sure everything that the smallest print, the Grenada will benefit, because sometimes we find prints just get us strict sometimes, and we'll just be excited to just do things helter-skelter. And so that is something that have been a challenge for me in terms of and being an MP. How do you help your people to understand that development doesn't happen overnight? That's one. How do you help them to understand that in order for something to be successful, strategic planning has to be in place? You have to ensure that you know for sure what you're getting into, what it involves, and how will the country benefit at the end of it. So
I want to still stick on the constituency, but we drew for a break. But I just want to get, and I hope you could be brief on this. During a recent newscast, I was listening and I heard the fishermen of Guelph. They were complaining about some issues in terms of the subsidized gas and stuff like that, and they claiming that unfair practices and so forth was all of the day. What has been done to address this particular issue for fishermen? You spoke a bit about fishermen, the things you plan on doing for them in terms of the make sure their boats and so forth and the locker system. In terms of the gas issue, what's your plans on that for fishermen?
No problem. So it's a bigger issue than the gas issue, and perhaps maybe you would recall GBN was up there a few years ago. That's before I think I was still in the Senate, or maybe I left the Senate. I resigned from the Senate that time. But a few years ago, there was a big protest in St. John in Guelph on the lands, to be exact, and they were calling on the then Minister for Fisheries to help with these outstanding issues, right? So this issue with the fishermen in Guelph has been well more than 8 years. Let's be honest there. Well more than 8 years. What we have is a situation whereby our fishermen are divided, right? There is a cooperative that's in place, and I don't want to politicize the issue, but there is a cooperative that is put in place, right? And so the cooperative, as you know, by law has a mandate to its members, right? And so somewhere along the line, they have fallen short with that. Some of the practices, be the gas issue, be in terms of the rental issue with the Guelph fisher, the fish market now, be it their rebates. As fishermen, they have been paying for the rebate and they have not been getting it. So they have is a quite a number of issues, right? And so my role in this whole situation is I have heard the side of the cooperative, I've heard the side of some of the fishermen. I am making a plea, and we are in the month of June, which is fisherman's birthday, not go off fisherman's birthday, but fisherman's birthday in general, the feast of St. Peter and Paul. I'm making a plea to the fishermen of Gulf to come together. If you do not come together and you are divided on the issue, you would not get a resolution. My Prime Minister was in the area a few months ago. I think it was in probably March or April, and he met with them on another issue that is still linked to the gas issue that you spoke about. So there's a number of issues there, but they're only coming in pockets, right? And so, there are facts that we have asked them to present, or we have asked the other parties involved to present. Some of them have not been adhered to up to now, and so it is a matter for us now to document these things and to go through the process as the law requires and prescribed, right? But as your representative for St. John, I am pleading to the fishermen, if you don't come together. So in the coming weeks, I will be having a stakeholder engagement with them. And it's not going to be come to our school and sit down on a nice chair. I'm going to come out to the field with you. I'm going to be on the bay. I'm going to be on the lands with you, and we're going to sit down. But in order for us to come to a resolution, you have to come together. We can't do this divided. And the politics, there's time and place for that. When we campaigning, I'm a political animal. When I representing, I put that aside and I represent for everybody. So let us take the politics out of the issue. Let us collaborate, fishermen, and let us work towards bringing this issue to a close.
All right. Hey, folks, we're due for a break. Let's take it. We'll be coming back with much more. Of course, speaking to the MP for St. John. When we come back, we got much more. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
Miss Faithlin's family drama continues with I Do by Urias Peters at Labucan Creative Center, Saturdays at 8 p.m., Sundays at 6 p.m., June 8th to 30th.
In these moments, we not just watching our match, we live in it. 44 million fans, 11 players, one flow. Bleeding we colors, celebrating we greatness. Wherever it's played, Flow is proud to be a part of it. This is We Game.
Coming up, it's a summer of style as top designers and their creations hit the catwalk with a Caribbean twist. The World Cup has rolled into town with on-field excitement and beyond-the-boundary thrills in Trinidad and Tobago. Getting married? Honeymooning? Barbados is your top option for an eventful experience. It's Caribbean Passport, right here on this station.
Solve your conflict in a different way. Choose peace and love instead of all bloodshed. Leave and land divides. You see the violence thing.
Make the change. 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 Make a change. Make the change. Make the change. End the gun violence now.
Just please give life a chance. Let's stop the violence. Oh.
welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. MP, welcome back up to you also on the program this morning. I want to get at this. This is a bit of a, I will consider maybe a bit of a controversial question I'm going to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. You know, we've been hearing on various, various calling programs and so forth, the excessive travel of ministers, MPs, and so forth. How do you respond to this as one of the MPs who are constantly accused of such?
Well, first and foremost, let me say that that's nothing new.
Yeah.
What is new is maybe the reporting of us actually going out on government's business to carry out the business of the state. So let's be real with that. It is nothing new. The records are there to show, and maybe the travels that we have been doing, going to conferences, is not pretty, it's not glamorous. People might get tricked in how I carry myself in terms of the nice little makeup, the pretty little clothes that I buy on Fashion Nova and think it's all nice and glamorous and traveling. Sometimes when you travel, the only thing that you get to do when you reach is to put your bags down, put your suitcase down, pick up your laptop, head to the conference, stay there until 12 p.m. in the nighttime negotiating, go back to your hotel if you're not in the same hotel where the conference is, shower, plan for the next day, and pace again. So it's not something that we're happy to do, or I am happy to do, and I understand that I have to do it, right, in order for us to place ourselves there. But it's nothing new, and so there has been a notion out there to promote that kind of agenda and that kind of that's petty, cheap political points that the young people are not even attracted to, because they are seeing the results. We hear about some of the initiatives that we've been able to get, and there's more to come. So it's not just about taking a plane to go in a destination, or I've been accused tremendously on numerous platforms about carrying my partner to travel. I'm like, listen, if that has been your story, which has been their story before, where family homes were destroyed because they're taking other people's spouses to travel with and live lavish on government funding, I have never used government funding to travel or to fund any travel in my private relationship, and I would never do that to the government's fund. So that low political point needs to stop. It needs to stop. And so as a minister, you have a mandate nationally as you do internationally. And so those people who are perpetuating that nonsense, you would realize that you're only speaking to a particular grouping of society that already knows the truth, and very soon they would stand in support of that. So there is a need for us. We have to be on the ground with you. We have to be in the communities with you. We have to be in the rum shops with you. We have to be on the block with you. We also have to ensure that we fight for you in Parliament and we get what you need, but we have an international mandate as well. We are not an island by ourselves. We are surrounded by other islands, and we are just one region in a globe. So we have to ensure that we carry out that mandate effectively and simultaneously.
Do you think that the constant traveling and so was affecting your proper representation of your constituency?
Well, I would ask you, JT, based on what I have
but
recorded
you have
and what I have mentioned in terms of what has been coming towards the constituency without government's local revenue. Do you think so? And that's a question for the audience as well.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, mind you, I live in my constituency. How much MPs in past, present, and to come would boast of that, and I would never leave Goughton, aka Belfast.
I certainly hope, and I certainly know that the constituents are hearing from you this morning.
Yeah,
I'm certainly appreciative of certainly what you're saying. Tell me, lots are happening, as you had mentioned, within the constituency. Lots of happening in terms of the ministry and so forth. If the opportunities are awarded to you, of course, to do more, what would you like to do?
To do more?
Yeah.
Oh, it would be to change the bureaucracy. Because our people can't seem to understand that because of the process, it takes time to get certain things done. And I understand, because some of them are legit, others may not be, but most are legit. And so sometimes when you have an issue, for example, whereby someone has to, travel to go seek medical attention with a child has 3 years, 5 years GT, and you have to tell me that in order for them to go, they have to get the reasoning from the doctor on a script as to where they need to go. Okay, fine, they get that. They get the invoice from wherever. Let's say they're going to Trinidad. They get the invoice from the doctor or the service facility there to come to Trinidad. The MP now has to go and send an email to the Minister for Health to say, well, there's an assistance program there, and so I'm seeking, $8,000, and then to be told by the minister that the program cannot give one person $8,000, it's just $1,500. How do you work? And even service $1,500. How do I just send that email, have the documents to back that this is true, the person is legit, we have done our checks and balances, and that they can get that money in a timely manner? That has been the killer for anything in terms of getting political work done, meeting your political commitments, and actually helping to develop and to advance some of the promises and programs that you have for your constituency. So if anything that I need to do more is to find a way to help mobilize and incentivize and to encourage the public service that the bureaucracy stands for checks and balances. But oh God, don't make it bad, because you're not hurting me. You're hurting, it might be your cousin, it might be a classmate of yours, it might be your own child one day, it might be your brother, it might be your sister, it might be your father. So let us not take the bureaucracy to use it as an excuse for everything not happening, but let's see how best we can ensure checks and balances, but also ensure that we meet the people in a more timely manner.
All right, certainly appreciate that. Now, as part of the cabinet of Grenada, what do you have anything to say in terms of the relations of the recent spate of violence here on island? What is the government saying on this important and topical issue? Because I haven't been hearing much from a governmental part of it. If maybe they have been, but I haven't heard.
Well, and Grenada
has been trending on international news for wrong reasons and so forth. But if the opportunity to speak to families on those affected by that these things that have occurred, tell us what would you like to say?
So government has been doing quite a lot, and let me tell you, government alone can't do it. Where are the churches in the conversation? Where is the private sector in the conversation? A society involves government, but it doesn't surround entirely on government. And so one of the main challenges that we have had in the past few months that we have been dealing with that issue is that everybody's looking, what government doing? All you're doing this, but what are you doing? You have a young son in your house that is on the brink of dropping out of school, that smokes every day 3, 4, 5 joints. What are you doing to say, let me see who I could get to him, who influencers he has around that I can get him to speak to him so that it doesn't become a government or an administrative issue, right? And so, but beyond that point, we could always throw the blame or say who is responsible or who should be and who not should be. But what we have been doing as a government is to ensure that we try our utmost to try small means to combating the issue. So a few weeks ago, we have launched and opened the gun amnesty period. Yes. We have gotten a good feedback of it. Everywhere in the world that it has been tried, in terms of the potential that you would expect, the influx of the guns that you expect, you may not reach a target, but it has still been proven to be ineffective. We have also launched a lot of public awareness campaigns with various amount of young persons. Honorable Minister Andy Williams as well has been one of the persons that recently launched a public campaign, but in a more psychosocial way, we have harnessed the support and the technical expertise of experts in the field, clinicians, to create programs that is designated for areas that are prone to crime. And I hate to say that, because from a passionate Guav girl, yes, right, as they dub me, and I'm happy to take that label, Guav has been seen and known as a place where nothing good exists, even though the results show that everything that happened in Grenada and all the benefits that Grenada got as a country is a Guav person that is behind it, right? All right. But we have been stigmatized for quite a long time, and I hate to use the word areas that are deemed delinquent or areas that are deemed as crime-prone areas, right? But nevertheless, the reality is what it is. We have had an unfortunate situation in one of the places where the best creativity, the most intellectuals reside, and that's in Gun Battle, and I kid you not, and beyond. Before my time as an MP, I used to be sitting there, and I still go in Gun Battle, that area. It is safe. It is that's where you probably might feel the most love in the entire of Grenada. And so sometimes, based on reasons, from family, based on their vulnerabilities, based on a number of different social reasons, they have gone slightly off track. And so what this program would do, Dr. Neil Chaitan has been the consultant. He has done phenomenal work in the Caribbean, in Canada, in the US, you name it, he has been there. Notably so for St. Kitts and Nevis. The crime rate in St. Kitts and Nevis is not even comparable to what we are dealing with now in Grenada. And that gentleman, that psychologist, has been able to contribute his expertise to lessening down the crime rate in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so he would be rolling out a program very soon in my constituency in Guelph, Gunbata area. Yeah. There will be one for the Four Roads area, the Carriage area, Mount Horn would be added very soon. And I don't think any for Carriacou and Petit-Matinic as yet. But that is just some of the ways that we are dealing with it. And it's unfortunate that is the mothers that feels it the most in this crime situation. And so when we are reporting on crime-related matters in the country, Grenada is still a safe place. Let's begin. It's still number one in the Caribbean, as dubbed the safest place in the Caribbean
I will agree
to
with
go.
you on that 100%.
Right? When we are promoting and presenting all of these things in the media for whatever gains that we want to get of it, we have to remember that there's people behind that and there's mothers behind that. A mother, imagine, have to wake up Mother's Day to hear that her blood, piece of her, has been taken away. And we could say all kind of thing about lifestyle and about what they choose to do, what they didn't choose to do, but it's still alive. So we have to be very careful and conscious as to what we say about these matters, because families are affected and continues to be affected the most in the whole situation.
All right. MP, you've been saying so much this morning, and I'm so happy because, some of the things that you have spoken about, sometimes we don't hear about it. And, I'm talking about all of the initiative that are implemented for your constituency, initiative between your ministries. How many we don't hear about it? So who's blaming for that? Blaming you for that?
I would probably, let me deflect the blame to say that we have recently up our game in terms of the communications.
Yes.
For me, I am a person, I work hard, and I am a behind the scenes person, and maybe in politics you don't survive with that attitude, but I think when you are genuine and you're working hard, the results will show for itself, right? Yeah. So I personally, I don't like being in the media that much, right? That's something that I'm working on because I understand the value of it, right? But from the ministry's perspective, we have recently up our game in terms of the communications unit. So we have a communications officer now. So you will be seeing and hearing much more of us in the coming days. But there's a Facebook pages, my Facebook, personal Facebook page. There is a ministry's Facebook page. We have been promoting and trying to spread out our message in the various media outlets and stuff. So it's a work in progress. We will get everything or not everything we could share the same time we get confirmation. Sometimes you need to make sure the checks and balances are there.
Appreciate
and then
that.
when you short it on something, then you go boom, and it make everybody fit.
All right. let's entertain a few of of course, I know there are callers. My lines have been going a wee bit all morning. Let's see if we can entertain some of the calls and see what they have in terms of questions they may like to ask or whatever contribution they like to make. Caller, good morning, you're welcome.
Good morning, Jason, and good morning to Minister James. I've seen your work. You are doing a lot. We are grateful for the color coaches bins in St. Andrews and Shores, and I am glad that you're there to educate our people, especially, the old talk that's been bandied about of the travel. But one of the things I do know is that a lot of these things that you get done cannot be done if you stay at home and just talk. A lot of the fundings are overseas based, and you have to go there to do what you're doing, and you're doing a good job. So continue, and God bless you, and congratulations on your second anniversary. Have a great day. I thank you. You look good in the belly dance.
I was an answer before I became a politician. So thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, there, callers. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Hi, good morning, GT, and good morning to you, Minister. I'm here listening to you, and I feel so proud of you. It's seeing these young children and them while they're working hard to uplift and to upgrade the standard of living for our elderly, our young people, and you have people on the side just can't see. Sister, you just continue doing what you are doing. Just imagine you in this day and age, right? You have elderly people, your mother, she take care of you. You come crying because of 150 reduc. Why you don't pick up this slack and give your mother, your grandmother something and help these young children? Look at your age and look how hard you're trying to help the elderly and the citizens of this country. Sister, continue. God bless you. Make me feel proud. You don't only graduating over and over and you have a job and you're working for the Grenadian people. But let me tell you something, sister. I don't know who you could miss as you in that field, climate. Let us look at the river. Perhaps we could get some people that are walking to put some life in the river. Too much of trees in the river. Look at how we're suffering for water now. Perhaps if we bring back life in the river, perhaps we might be able to solve some of the problems. So if you could see what you could do, I know Minister Andy willing to help the Prime Minister, and let us see if we could put some people to clean up the river, cut down all the trees in the river, talking not the bank or what the case may be, because so much of trees in the river. The river now, the way you see in the river now is just trees and bush in it, no water. So let us see if we could bring some life in our rivers around. Thank you, baby. I love you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. We do have another caller. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning. You're welcome.
Yeah, good morning, GT, and good morning to the Minister James. A few complimentary and also a few questions. For one, I want to endorse what the Minister said in terms of the pushback from the bureaucracy. I know this is true, especially when she started up. A lot of things was frustrated. I don't know for now. But in terms of the connection with the public, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good enough. I think she needs to do more. I was even thinking while she was on the way, do they have a public relation officer in that ministry? I'm aware of the ministry because I did work in the ministry in the past. It's a very difficult ministry to work and very under-resourced in terms of human resources. But still, we need to have much more interface. Like today is World Environment Day, and there've been little putting from GBN on World Environment Day. Also, I want to wish you happy Environment Day. Now, in terms of concrete thing, one is, and a positive, is that a group of civil society from the Caribbean was meeting recently on the Escalgoo Agreement. And an idea came up that we should support St. Lucia to host the next COP of the Escalgoo Agreement. I'm asking you, Minister, would you be willing to support that trust if that become a reality? And then finally, in terms of geothermal, since the first attempt by the Tillman Thomas administration to introduce geothermal in Grenada under the Minister of Nazir Book, Friends of the Earth, my organization, has been opposed to it. During the NNP area, we've been opposed to it, and even now we still oppose it because we don't believe that this is a viable thing for us, and the amount of uncertainty, the danger it could cause, the damage is already caused in terms of preparatory work, and there's no guarantee. In fact, I had conversation with people from other islands who said that it's almost a gamble, and we shouldn't gamble at this time. Thank you very much, Ms. Have a good day, Environmental Day. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Respond to the caller.
Oh, so we have a lot there. So thank you to the two callers for the compliments and for highlighting another initiative on the ministry in terms of the color-coded bins for waste management and waste diversification. Yes. As it relates to the public relations, yes, as I mentioned earlier, we have recently been able to staff and to create the communication unit, so you will be seeing much more of us. The hosting of the ESCAZO or a COP in general. So the ESCAZO agreement is a climate justice agreement that shares that, information around climate, around justice on climate issues and stuff. We need to adhere to it and to ensure that we live up to our agreements. And so Grenada has only just ratified the ESCAZO agreement last year. So I am happy that under my stewardship that we have been able to do that. Of course, as with any other opportunity that we get to host any major conferences, we will be willing and ready as a government to do so. The Escazo agreement, the Escazo Cup has been dubbed to be hosted in St. Lucia, yes, but it's something that we're going to be open to. But this September, we have another very important conference that's coming up, which is the Sargassum Conference, so dealing with the issues, to bring in experts, technical persons, political persons, NGOs in Grenada, around the region, to really and truly giving a more regional and a more structured approach towards dealing with the Sargassum issue once and for all. So not everything we could get. We would love to have everything, but of course we have to support our sisters and brothers in the region. So we will be supporting St. Lucia. As it relates to geothermal, now a lot of myth, like I mentioned earlier, has been said and expounded upon as it relates to geothermal, and I recognize that. Now, geothermal is a natural resource, and I think one of the main challenges that we have had in terms of really selling it for us, it would be like the public engagement and stakeholder engagement, and I think not much emphasis in the past have been done to educate and incentivize our people. Yes, they have concerns. Caller, maybe if you can get my number, 4230957. I would love to hear specific examples as to what the concerns are, because we hosted a stakeholder engagement on the ASIA, the Environmental Impact Assessment, a couple of weeks ago, and very soon we are going to be doing a study tour. We have some commitments I can't name yet because it's not set in stone, but we have some commitments to get to funding a study tour for us to bring the NGOs. So maybe that is an NGO that I would have to definitely look forward to, towards two plans. One that has been successfully implemented in Guadeloupe since 1990, and the other one is the recent developments and successes that Dominica has been having. So there are some legit concerns, but I think that we have to let data and science drive us for what we do and how we do it. And so I understand that there needs to be a much more tailored and deliberate approach to ensuring that our persons and our constituents are educated. So definitely your organization would be one that I'll be targeting for that study tour in July.
Okay, we do have another caller. Caller, good morning, you're welcome.
Good morning. I would like to ask the young lady, when you go to conferences abroad, are you traveling with technocrats, or are you going by yourself? Thank you very much.
Well, caller, do you follow my page, and have you been reading the media outlets? You would see all of that. I've never shied away from expressing and putting out all of who the delegates are. Of course, you can come to the ministry anytime. Registry would be more than willing to give you the information as to who went where, what we did, what we spoke about, what the bilaterals was. So we try to be as transparent as possible. So first and foremost, take the time right now to click on KERRYNEZ James. That's my Facebook page name, and you would see all the information there. Or simply you could go on Now Grenada, you could go on GB, and you could go on GIS pages, and you would see from the 2 years in my tenure all the travel that I went on. It's documented as to who the delegation has been. And like I said, if you want to reach out to me, I am one phone call, one email away.
All right, we do have another caller via the WhatsApp. Caller, good morning, you're welcome.
Good morning, Mr. GT, and good morning to the Minister, Miss James. First of all, I must say that I admire the manner in which you do answer the question as a young person. Your working and explanation and such. The good book say that we must never despise our youths, and we must remember that young people in this day and age, they are very much more up to date with technology and very brilliant. And I want to congratulate you on that aspect. Keep your focus and do what you do and represent Grenada very well. By your age, saying to you, you are doing very well as a young person, and that should be a beacon to other young people to show all the potential and what they can do. I have two questions for you. In terms of the renewable energy, I've heard sometime in the newscast that there are plans for somewhere in St. Andrews, maybe on the Paul's area and the Point Celine area to get deep into renewable energy with the installation of PV solar panel and things of that sort. What I would like to know, how far that you get ahead with such, and also as you touch on the environment, have you ever give consideration, maybe in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture and the other department, the lab in Tantin, the chemical lab? We're looking at nutmeg, and I know that nutmeg oil have many uses. In Brazil, they use corn oil in the industry as petrol and engine oil and different things. Have you ever give consideration, instead of all this oil being imported as such, get into some scientific aspect of things and see whether nutmeg oil can be used for engine oils, lubricant, and things of that sort. I would like you to give some consideration. It will take care of environmental pollution that we have all about. Is that importing all this oil, and give me some update on the calls and the Point Celine renewable aspect of things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. And maybe you're our final caller for the morning, because we may have to take a wrap. You respond to the caller, MP, and we get some closing contribution for you. Let me take a wrap for today.
Yes.
I know you'd like to go all morning.
I know. I've been out the media for such a long time that there's so much to talk about, right? But as it relates to the geothermal project, so both the Ministry of Renewable Energy, my ministry, along with the utility company Glen, have understood clearly Prime Minister's mandate for the transitioning of RE, right? Yes. Transitioning of our energy sector towards looking to RE as the alternative. And so we have projects that we would lead. Grenlec also has projects that they would lead. And so there is a 17 megawatt project that is going to be broken up into two sites. One is at the Maurice Bishop International Airport area. Yes. It's broken up into two, so we could count it as one, three, right? Two. And then there's one at, we have been looking at lands from Pearls. We have also been looking at lands in, what do they call that area there where River and Twine is?
That's in the...
in St. Patrick
Riverside.
Yeah, right. So St. Patrick areas where
as
we
bad
have
as
been,
you are with the
right. So they have been looking at lands, suitable lands there as well. So they have been looking at that 17 megawatt. As it stands, the Rocky Mountain Institute, an international organization, has been able to do the preliminary assessments and feasibility studies for us for that project, creating a case and putting together an actual project. So they have been shopping that project. We are almost close towards getting financing in a dual sense, concessional financing as well as grant funding from a number of international organizations that I can't talk about yet until everything is in black and white. But we're looking at that as an alternative. So that is where we're at in terms of that. We are still shopping the project to get in the best financial support and model possible so that we can accomplish the goal of making energy actually cheaper. Right. Secondly, we've gotten a number of proposals from private companies, private persons, persons from the diaspora who want to contribute back to Grenada in that way. But what is hindering them now from going the extra mile is the regulatory or legislative framework. And so almost simultaneously, we have to ensure we couple our project implementation or project management, project planning with making sure that we have the regulations intact. So we are working closely, or will be working closely with the Public Utility Regulatory Commission, that's PERC, to ensuring that whatever loopholes exist, whatever gap exists within that structure, we will be working in collaboration collaboratively to ensure that we pass the legislations to Parliament or whatever it needs to be done. So so far, PERC has been able to carry out quite a number of stakeholder engagements since last year to find out the methodology. I think net metering was one of them that has been, shopped around throughout the island, of the entire island, including Kerryne Matnik, as to the methodology that can be used for energy, and making sure that the incentives and the structures are there to support persons who would like to invest in it. So it's a dual approach between my ministry, the Regulatory Commission, as well as the Ministry for Utilities and Energy, which is Prime Minister's ministry.
All right. I know Guava is going to, of course, we in the month of June, as you mentioned earlier on, Fisherman Birthday. I know there's a list of activities that certainly will be taking place that you would like to highlight this morning. And then we get some closing comments. We're a little bit off time already, but I'll give you a couple of minutes if we could wrap this up.
I feel special. I'll be back on your program, GT.
You're most welcome.
So, already gone, we've hosted a food handlers workshop that I sponsored. That workshop was to assist food vendors to not seeing their business as a hustle, but to seeing their food vending and food selling as a business, right? And to ensure that the safety, how they handle the customers, how the type of cuisines that they create are open and enjoyable to all persons coming into the area. So they have concluded that workshop yesterday. We've had quite a number of participants there. You would see more of that to come in the media. We hosted also the launch. So we it's a long time, in a lot of years we have not been able to start Fisherman's birthday celebration June 1st. Quite people love to party, but this time we did it with class. We did it with a great ambience, and so that clips of that would be shared via social media. So we hosted the launch where we set out what it's going to be. This Friday we are going to and every Friday in June, Fish Friday is back. So we are going to add an additional feature to Fish Friday. So this Friday it is art exhibition. So all the artists, if you have any artwork that you would love to showcase, it's for St. John people, but we go be nice and give you a little space.
You can pop up.
You can pop up. Let us know. You can call 405-9499 is the 9499. Sorry. 9497 405-9497. That is the office number. So if you want to showcase your art, you can. Sorry, the numbers is a thing that don't register with me at all. And we're going to put local wine tasting with that. So it will be art and local wine tasting. So all the local winemakers out there, if you want to showcase it, we are going to be, dubbing it. We cannot do regular wine, but we want to really use the opportunity to showcase our businesses in St. John. And of course, we're extending the invitation to anybody out there. So this Friday, Fish Friday would be up, live and active. So the only place to be this Friday is Guave, St. John, St. Dominic Street, Guave Fish Friday. We are also going to have a marine cleanup on Saturday. It's in collaboration with the U.S. Embassy, Coca-Cola, Flow, and quite a number of other donors. They have collaborated along with my ministry to ensure that this cleanup is done. So this cleanup is different, and that would commemorate the activity in my constituency for World Environment Day. So we are going to be cleaning the ocean. A lot of our fisher folks have been complaining that their nets, debris, bottles, all kind of waste has been sticking in their nets when they go out to fish. So we have some divers that have committed. If you're a diver and you want to volunteer your time, feel free to do so. All of the environmental groups, the eco groups in SGU, the environmental clubs in TAMCC, you need the community service hours. Those students in secondary school, if you need the community service hours, this is an opportunity for you to come out this Saturday from 8 a.m. We are going to be cleaning on the Lance. That's the Lance Bay. On Sunday, June 9th, we are still working around with the logistics for the Gospel Parish Show and Festival. More details on that would be forthcoming during the week. We also have Emerald Fiesta Parish Sporting Exhibition. So we have quite a number of different sports across the parish. We have basketball, we have netball, tennis, football, and cricket, table tennis to be exact, and cricket competitions that will be done from the 10th to the 14th of June. So more would be forthcoming on these events. And then from the 16th to the 22nd of June, we have a listing of celebrations that is dubbed in significant recognition of Julian Fedon. He is the fighting spirit of us golf people, I say job people today. So we have quite a number of activities lined up for that. We have Fisher Folk and Farmer Appreciation Day. We have the annual health walk. We are looking to collaborate with another agency to doing a folk on the fort. We have a fort in St. John, and so we have to do some background work on that, and then we're going to conclude and see if that's still a possibility for us to get done. Of course, June 23rd, we have the Fisherman's Birthday Health and Fun Walk from Cotton Bailey Junction, aka Bucky Junction. We have to rename that junction to Bucky Junction, all the way up to Guelph. It's a normal thing. We have engaged quite a number of organizations and companies to sponsor and partner with us. We have the Health Clinic and Expo on St. Dominic Street, or we're looking to maybe bring it up on the lands to get much more traction there. Okay. We also have the Fishers Expo and Open Day, and then we have the annual mass in June 28th. And of course, Fisher folks, if you're looking on, you do not want to miss the church service this year. There is a big surprise in store, but for only those who come to the Feast of St. Peter and Paul Mass at the St. Peter's Catholic Church in Guelph at 9 a.m. So the events on 29 June will start from 9 a.m. the procession. Then we are going to do something more significant to mark the life and celebrate the life of those fisher folks who have been lost at sea, right? That is another surprise to come. I won't say anything on it as yet, but it's in store. And then on June 30th, we close off with the St. John's Gala and Awards Night, celebrating our local icons in the constituency.
All right. MP, I want to thank you a whole lot for being on the program this morning.
Thank you so very much.
It was definitely a pleasure having you. And as you mentioned, we're going to be seeing you regular.
Yes.
On a regular.
Yes.
At least once a month.
I would try my utmost.
At least once a month. Thank you so much for coming in, of course, sharing information this morning. And I know there are lots of listeners and viewers this morning has appreciated all that you said, and looking forward to you doing much more of these engagements and sharing. At least keep the folks in touch.
I have to.
Thank you once again for being on the program. You're certainly welcome.
Yes.
Hey, folks, that's how we take a wrap for this edition of To The Point. Thanks all who, of course, stayed around with us this morning, and certainly do appreciate it. Until we have another edition for you, have yourself a good day, folks. That's what we say. Goodbye.
Bye.